It feels good in the cold. Should be cold plunging every day. I have a cold plunge. I'm sitting in it. It's 1:40 in the afternoon. Instead of sitting in a cubicle, I'm sitting in a cold plunge. Are you ready to revolutionize your health and reconnect to your primal self? Welcome to the Primal Shift Podcast. My goal with the Primal Shift Podcast is to show you how to achieve optimal health, and that includes the health of your body's largest organ, your skin. Today's sponsor, OneSkin, has a line of topical supplements powered by the OS01 peptide. It's the first ingredient scientifically proven to reduce the accumulation of senescent cells. That's one of the hallmark signs of aging. And for a limited time, my listeners will get 15% off their first OneSkin purchase with code MCOMER at oneskin.co. That's oneskin.co. And now back to the episode. Are you struggling with doing difficult and challenging things like getting into a cold plunge, or changing your diet, or going to bed earlier, or not using your phone as much in the evening? If that's the case, then you're either a lazy bastard, or you might have low testosterone. And I'm not 100% sure if that applies equally to both men and women, but I've noticed one thing during my experiments with different supplementations and HCG to move my testosterone levels from the lower end of normal to the higher end of normal, or optimal, because out of the box, despite doing as much right as I possibly can, I can't get my testosterone levels, my total testosterone, above 400. And it's the same for my brother, So I don't know if there is a genetic component or something else, but nothing that I've tried without using supplementation or HCG or something of that nature moves the needle significantly. And as part of my experimentation, I've noticed that when my testosterone levels are on the lower end of normal, again, still within the normal range, but definitely on the lower end of normal, my desire to push myself, to endure pain, to do challenging things, physically in particular, are diminished. And I did some research and I discovered that even in the wild, they've done studies on rams, male sheep, and during the mating season, also known as the rut, the ram's testosterone levels increase significantly, so their desire to fight, to show aggression, and to endure pain, which what they're likely going to endure during a fight, is significantly increased, because without those higher testosterone levels, they wouldn't be willing to get into those fights and fight for, a female. And obviously, in human, it's slightly different. Just because you have testosterone levels on the higher end of normal doesn't mean you become aggressive and your propensity to fight is increased. It certainly wasn't the case with me. But I've noticed my desire to push myself and the way I perceive pain. So when I work out and I reach a certain limit, then with normal low levels, it feels incredibly painful. And I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to push myself that hard today. I just take it easier. I stay within that threshold or under that threshold. When my levels are in the upper end of normal, in the optimal level, on the optimal range, which is what I would say, then I just, crush through it. And I don't even feel the pain as painful as it would feel otherwise. And I just go through it. My desire to endure pain, and then knowing that the pain doesn't actually feel that painful, everything changes. And so it's significantly easier than to do difficult things, be it, working on tough projects, pushing through deadlines, exercising, making changes to your diet, all of the things that are difficult and challenging are much easier, or at least they appear to be easier. They are perceived to be easier, making them much more likely to be done. And so, circling back to what I said initially, if you're struggling with making hard decisions or with making changes that are inconvenient, that are uncomfortable, that are difficult and challenging, and you just don't feel like doing them, then it might be worthwhile getting a testosterone checked and see where it is. I mean, if your doctor says it's normal, look at the numbers. And because the normal range is somewhere from 250 to 1100. It's a huge range, and it makes a significant difference if you're on the lower end or if you're on the higher end. And I can tell you that from personal experience, firsthand experience. And so look at your levels, check them out, and in particular if you're a male. Again, I'm not entirely sure if that same concept applies to females, but obviously hormones, play a major role in females as well, and their ability to push and to do certain things. I mean, just looking at the menstrual cycle, during certain phases of that cycle, you're more likely to push. Your ability to push and to endure is much better than during the luteal phase, for example. So I'm sure there is a similar concept there. But especially, if you're male and your desire to do hard things is low, get your levels checked, and if need be, maybe choose some of the supplements. I'm in the process of reviewing some of comparing them to HCG, which is a pharmaceutical that helps your testes, or that encourages your testes to produce more of your own testosterone. And I'm going to share my findings soon on the blog, as well as on the YouTube channel, maybe on this podcast. And so check that out, but consider, maybe do something to boost your levels a little bit, so to increase your desire to do hard things. And it's much easier to make the dietary change, to go to bed early, to do all the things that you want to do to improve your health and well-being. And likely in the process, you'll also increase your testosterone levels naturally a little bit, or maybe a lot, depending on your, genetics, your circumstances, and other factors. And it's a win-win, so try that out, and let me know how it works out for you.
In the next episode of the Primal Shift podcast, we'll be joined by special guest Bates, a relationship coach who has walked the path of navigating modern relationships and personal transformation. Bates brings his experience and insights into how lifestyle changes, like diet and wellness, can create friction in relationships, and how to manage those challenges. He'll share his expertise on setting boundaries, maintaining healthy connections, and staying true to your goals, whether it's in dating, marriage, or dealing with family dynamics. Tune in for practical advice on balancing your health journey with the complexities of relationships.